Welcome to a new podcast of Boots on the Ground Ready. I'm your host, Mr. Chad, and across from me in the executive conference room with African marble tables is your other host, Mr. Carl.
Yeah, in our brand new building. Good morning, my friend. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing pretty decent. We got a nice view here. We're trying to get for the audience to see the surroundings of the new building and the potential new golf course that's going to be built out here.
Can we do that? Hold on. Let's see if we can do that. I got it on.
We're proud of this.
I got it on a chair.
Yeah, we got the blinds down because the heat comes in, but
you can't really.
There we go.
Yeah, you get a little bit of view there, but it's pretty nice.
And we're important people today, Chad. We're actually in the executive conference room. Look at that. We're moving on up in the world.
Love it. I hope I can keep you on the camera. But we have a guest on today, and we'll get to that here in a few. But I think we were going to go ahead and start it up with some of the weather we had. We have a
little excited, I guess. This put some things into motion with Tropical Storm Bertha.
Big bad Bertha coming out with two landfalls, right?
Yeah, it's going to be. Did it second landfall yet?
Yeah,
no?
So it had first landfall yesterday as a tropical storm. I think it was like 50-mile-an-hour winds in Slidell. Thing about Bertha is there's a lot of upper level wind shear that is coming through and a little bit of dry air. That dry air wasn't there. The shear wasn't there. We probably definitely would have seen a hurricane with the amount of time that she was over the water. But the good thing is for the people, obviously, is the upper level winds and the shears pushing most of the energy and the winds south of the center. So it's all staying offshore, basically, all your big winds. And I think the only gust I saw, we had a 75-mile-an-hour gust in like central Louisiana.
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
Outside of that, even the coast where the landfall was, 60-mile-an-hour top gusts, and these were small little pockets. But right now it's bouncing off, heading out towards High Island, Texas.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that is.
I've not heard of it before.
Have you looked on it? Radar, though? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like a little island that's lifted up. I guess High Island.
I'm sure it's man-built, man-made or something like that. So is this a bit of an anomaly for them to develop in the Gulf at this time of year? Don't we usually get I thought we get the crossers from Africa.
No, in July, you usually get a lot of waves. This one actually did. Actually, this one was a stalled front that came off a low, I believe, that came off the States and then kind of circulated.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. It was
Bermuda
right over
high
Florida.
pushed it back over.
Yeah.
But I mean, July usually is around the Gulf area, Caribbean area. And then August, you go along your main development region, which is the MDR off of Africa. And that's usually August, September. And then once October and November roll around, we're back in towards the Caribbean area.
The Gulf.
Yeah.
So we always talk it's bittersweet, right? It's good for the citizens because they're not being affected by a catastrophe, but our host, Bluegrass Insurance Management, they're hoping for some work. So it's that fine balance, but we're glad everybody's safe and sound. Doesn't seem like it's going to be too bad.
No, the exposure rate was over, I think, under 110 claims, and I think we're at 21 right now. Most of them Florida. Isn't that funny?
I've seen that. That is funny. Hey, if we back that chair up a little bit, Chad, we might be able to get you in to make it.
I think I am on it. But it's
okay.
Showing it on look at me, man.
Just making sure.
Come up.
Yeah. So as we get used to this new building and this new technical apparatus we have here, actually a smart whiteboard, which is unusual for Chad and I. Anyway, excited we have a VIP host today. A VIP guest today. Really excited to speak with her. I know she's done a little bit of work with Tower Hill and some Lean Six Sigma project and have at it, but would you like me to introduce her? Or do you want to?
Yeah, you go ahead.
So we have assistant professor, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Lisa Platt. She is an assistant professor at UF of Interior Design and Research Faculty with the Florida Institute for Built Environment Resilience at the University of Florida. Is that good introduction, Doctor? And I apologize if I butchered it or if I didn't. Please have at it and introduce yourself.
that was flawless, Chad.
See that? I did my homework. But no, very excited to talk about what you do and fiber. We can say fiber, correct? And when we when we name it and how you're influencing some things, or maybe with the OIR and the Lean Six Sigma project that you graciously are helping out with inside here internally with Tower Hill. But if you don't mind, in the beginning, just give us and the audience a little bit of a background about yourself, because it's pretty impressive.
Well, shucks. Thank you.
Now the
Uh,
pressure's on.
um, so my background is actually in, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Um, my background is actually in building. I spent 20, there we go. I spent about 25 years in professional practice. Specifically, I was a healthcare designer before entering academia. So I was used to designing safety critical environments. And then I pursued a PhD in resilience engineering, specifically
Uh,
because I saw from my experience and practice how damaging things like natural hazards and systems failures were to building performance. And so my work really focuses on how right now how building materials contribute to overall resilience of structures. And in fiber, we say that we work at the intersection of research application and lived experience. So that means that we really look at doing applied research that support projects that study challenges and build and unbuilt and social systems. And then we help try to translate those findings into tools and strategies that can be used in practice. So we're really interested in doing applied research. And so my work, which really focuses on material resilience and
mhm,
things that are related to that, has become interesting to the insurance world, especially around
mhm,
flood risks and water intrusions, which is
mhm.
certainly appropriate this time of year. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm really still learning about what this means in terms of insurance claims and how we can better develop the science that supports decisions and that adjusters and carriers have to make, which has been really the focus of my work with the Office of Insurance Regulation and Tower Hill Insurance.
Very interesting. Did that insurance piece originally anchor from like the inception of this, or did that come in like later? Did the OIR reach out to you for your studies and your database, or?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, this relationship started because we were developing a teaching tool and software platform called the Sustainable Adaptive Material Performance Level System, or SAMPL. We love
Mhm.
acronyms in
Yeah,
academia.
exactly.
So, so the Office of Insurance Regulation approached the research institute I work for, Fiber, and asked if we could look at deploying this with other environmental interventions that might impact property performance and thus the insurance industry. And so that was really my first foray into this industry, and that was just a little over a year ago. But since then, we've been working we developed something called the Ripple Report, which is Resilience Inference for Performance Level System that uses this sample software to inform how single-family residences would perform in under water intrusion risks. And what we found were, regardless of what other interventions might be introduced into the design of a single family home, it really boils down to the materials that you select to construct that home. So this sample computational modeling tool is based on open source data of material performance that is widely available, but it uses a series of decision rule algorithms to basically help us understand how certain types of commonly used building materials might perform under water intrusion risks. So that's really been kind of the focus of the work I've been doing. That we published the Ripple Report in 2025. in the resource repository. It's on the fiber website and is available to anybody who wants to use it, and includes a sample dashboard. And then we've been working with Tower Hill and continuing to work with Office of Insurance Regulation on how we can continue to perfect SAMPL as a predictive model for, you know, certainly other folks in the insurance industry to use, but also
Yes.
homeowners and
Yeah.
other researchers.
Like construction, companies and stuff like that? I mean, but so when you say water intrusion, are you speaking specifically to, just like flood?
No, actually, and this was something that again, this is something I find really exciting because I've been
Yeah.
learning so much about what can go wrong in terms of property adjustment.
Mhm.
But water intrusion, it does not look at just water. It just looks at water intrusion writ large. So it doesn't look at just flooding. We did use flooding data to weight risk variables, but we also looked at what I'll refer to as the water resistance or hydrophobicity of materials to water intrusion, which, based on our findings and based on our collaborators with this project, are often due to systems failures in the home itself. So, like burst pipes. I'm originally from the Northeast, and so every winter
Mhm.
that was something that was a common occurrence in our home. Instead of with like a pipe would burst, and then the materials would fail, and then once the materials fail, as you all will know, it's basically you're looking at replacement if they're not resistant to
Yeah.
getting wet at all. So something like Type X drywall will
Mhm.
degrade immediately upon if water even touches it. So that you're looking at complete replacement versus what we're hoping to do with sample is introduce other potential strategies that might have the potential to dry buildings out easier, as opposed to looking at materials that are going to have to be full
Replaced.
scale replacement if water
Yeah.
intrudes. But it doesn't matter where the water comes in, it's just the exposure to water and how the materials perform.
Right, like green board or mason board,
Yeah.
they use a lot of those. No, that is really so I guess my mind is
Your
going
Chad's
everywhere right
field
now.
adjuster hat is on now. Before we get down into some rabbit holes, I know Chad wants to go down to your
Oh, yeah.
website where people can find out more. Could you say it on
Yeah,
the pod?
if you Google UF fiber, don't
Mhm.
Google fiber. You're going to get a lot of serial and brand
Yeah.
reference. But if you do University of Florida fiber, and under resources, you will find the Ripple report, which is downloadable, and you'll also find the sample dashboard that will allow you can actually manipulate it and have it tell you how certain materials are going to perform. I honestly, I've been doing this like quarter of a century, and just I've learned so much about this project that even when we remodel our home, I will make different decisions on the materials we use because
Yeah.
there's nothing quite like computation models that allow you to integrate a bunch of different performance characteristics to give you
Yeah.
a much better idea about how a system is actually going to perform. So, yeah, but this is right now, it's open source to whoever wants to use it.
That is super cool. It's better than typing it into Reddit and having a bunch of people tell you what to do. I tried that. I was like, "Oh, man." This is great. I actually, reviewed the site, and I reviewed the dashboard for, sample, where it would tell you the strength, durability, resilience, and it gives you kind of the pie chart of, how each material, functions. Yeah, I think this is genius. Are you I mean, you say you've been working on this for what, 5 years or
Quarter of a cent 25 years.
tw
Is that what you said?
But yeah, I would say I've been in practice now technically for 30 years, which kind of almost
Oh, wow.
makes me makes me a little nauseous to say that. But, but yes,
That's
I've
awesome.
Yeah.
I've been in academia for, uh, 7 years, and so basically for 7 years,
For
we've
about
been
7
working on
years.
this. We released it last year, so it's in its
Uh,
infancy. The sample dashboard is really in its beta version, and so um, we've received funding from the university, specifically our intellectual property wing, UF Innovate, who's provisionally patented it.
Yep.
And they're giving us funding to do the next iteration of the dashboard, which is going to be even better because what it'll allow us to do is more instantaneously grab data on performance that is readily available and then allow us to integrate it through these decision rule algorithms into this platform. And where that's going to be beneficial is a lot of the materials you'll see on sample are the traditional materials that we would use in building. But what we're hoping with these new versions is that novel materials that are coming onto the market, this
Mhm.
next version will make it easier to evaluate the performance of those within the context of more traditional materials. So if you have a new roofing material that comes out,
So,
roof, as
man,
you well know, that roofs are like, they're constantly innovating on roofing materials. These these new versions, excuse me, will hopefully allow us to grab that data more instantaneously and then evaluate that under the traditional roof material roof materials that are used. And
yeah,
so that's what we're hoping to
yeah,
continue to develop as part of
that's
this
the vision.
system.
Yeah,
It is. I mean, yeah, because I'm when I'm looking at it, I'm like, gosh, you could just. I mean, there's so many things you could do with this, like based on geographic areas. Like you could put in where you're, building a house, at this location. It pulls in data. It could tell you based on past experience or weather or humidity or
uh,
any kind of perils. The best materials to use for the roof is this. The best materials for the siding is this. The best materials for insulation due to humidity is this.
interesting.
It could help you build. I mean, my mind is blown by the how much potential this could have and grow into. And no, that's really cool. That's really smart.
Yeah, funding's important too, as well. So you are getting good backing from the university,
Yes. Yeah, they've been I bring my own bias when it comes to
of
UF,
course.
but I have to say there's, like, University of Florida is phenomenal at
Yeah,
supporting, research that definitely looks to improve the conditions for Florida residents. I mean,
yeah.
that's kind of what they're known for.
Mhm.
But, and although we have our natural hazard challenges here in Florida, it also presents a great microcosm to be doing this kind of work because there's no place really that faces the same kind of challenges that Florida does in terms of like
So true.
hurricanes and heat and fire. And so I think it's a great place to do this research so we can lead by example. And UF has that tradition anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel very fortunate to be here. And fiber is one of the only research institutes that is committed to doing built environment resilience research specifically. And we're one of the largest in the country. And so I feel incredibly lucky to be able to be doing this research with my team and my colleagues and where I am.
Yeah. Do you get to a point where you might even be doing this? Are you do the algorithms like speak to or will promote new materials? You talked about like building like new, uh, uh, drywall and things like that. So is that also part of this? Does that work in that regards? Like building new materials or putting together new materials that'll be more resilient to things?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. And yes, so the short answer is yes.
Yeah.
What we don't wanna do, is ever, because we are scientists and because we want to stay objective, we don't ever wanna say, "Oh, just use this." So,
Oh yeah, of course.
it's not, that just use this and everything is going to be fine because again, the materials are part of a complex system. But one of the ways sample operates is on what we call composite criteria. So, depending on the project, you're looking at resilience in under the lens of three different performance categories. So it's strength, how durable the material is under specific use standards and regional risk factors, symbiosis, which are a set of criteria that indicates how the material might interact with environmental conditions and in the ripple case, particularly moisture, and does it resist or exacerbate problems? And then sustainability, which is how ecologically responsible and chemically transparent is the
Mhm.
material and what that might mean for long-term health and well-being. So
Mm.
for these new projects, the benefit, or for these new materials, the benefit of having resilience rather than just rubber stamping something and saying this is resilience at this level, it gives users of the dashboard kind of an under the hood look of
Yeah.
here's how this material, this new material is performing in terms of strength. Here's how it's performing in terms of its symbiosis or contextual adaptability. And here's how it's performing under the lens of sustainability.
Right.
So rather than just saying, oh, it's gold, silver, bronze, it
Right.
is actually giving any user a better idea about how a novel material or a new material in this new iteration will be performing under those technical performance measures.
Yeah.
So you spoke about, and maybe I misunderstood, but your study also takes into consideration, you said wellness?
We are actually, yeah. So there's again, coming from healthcare design, that was very much a focus of the first
I read that in your
25
background. Yeah.
years of my professional life. So there is a common co-occurrence between materials used in the built environment, especially the interior environment, material degradation, and health outcomes, specifically pulmonary or respiratory health
Hmm.
outcomes. And so we are actually using SAMPL right now in community action research in Jacksonville because we're interested in how material performance impacts interior environmental quality and energy efficiency and how that might actually influence conditions to either
Wow.
degrade or promote well-being in neighborhoods.
Interesting. What a way to pivot into that. I would have never thought. That's pretty interesting
Yeah, it
and
is.
cool, for lack of a better word.
No pun
Unbelievable.
intended.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, no pun intended. That's all right. That's exactly right. How does mold and things like that come into play with you? Is that something that you evaluate? Like, yeah, of course, that'd be important, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So that again, one of the two of the kind of sub-level criteria that we look at, in addition to hydrophobicity, are how resistant materials are to thermal bridging or heat. So we
Mhm.
look at the R value of materials, and so again, it doesn't. We all know that heat and moisture are a breeding ground for mold. And so, by using these kind of techniques to evaluate the conditions of existing or new buildings, so, greenfield development, we can look at not just the resistance to damage of moisture, but also how these conditions could influence human health. So again, mold is a perfect
Yeah.
example. Interestingly enough, my PhD dissertation was on resilience engineering as it relates to infection prevention
Oh,
through design. And so I looked at bacteria, but mold was also one of those factors that, especially like in hot, humid climates like
oh,
Florida,
yeah.
is very hard to stay ahead of. So although it's not a panacea that we can like build so there's no mold, if we're
Right.
building smarter, we're reducing the potential for risk to evolve
Yeah.
related to mold and environments.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, I mean, you're in the best place. I believe Gainesville is, if not in the top 5 most humid cities in the state of Florida.
Huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, from my understanding, and again, I don't know if this is related or not, but doesn't like almost every single home in Florida have a certain percentage of mold in it?
Oh yeah, and not yes. So
Really?
I think I'm going to put my systems engineer hat on now. One of the things that we try to do, and whether it's systems engineering or building, is look at trying to maintain a balance of the overall system. So, yes, you're not going to obliterate mold in any building. It's everywhere, and not all of it is like dangerous
Yeah.
to human health at certain levels. So again, I think what we try to do with building, or what we try to do with systems analysis, is how do we create a system where the risks and benefits are somewhat in balance, so we don't have an exponential increase of risk that could potentially impact building performance or human health. So it kind of from I think this is one of the things that I'm learning about insurance, that I feel like a kinship with it. It kind of looks at through the same lens of risk, um, in terms of how we try to design a resilient building, as insurance does in terms of evaluating risk
Yeah.
in the market.
Interesting. What is my ignorance in the mold world? Is black mold like the worst that a human can be, it could contaminate, I guess, for lack of a
You
go
know,
ahead.
I would defer to my colleagues at the Emerging Pathogens Institute UF, because I know as I've said with insurance, this is not my swim lane. I'm finding it fascinating and learning about
Yeah.
it. I'm not, that is also well above my area of expertise. I know I've been in the field long enough to know
Yeah.
mold when I see it, but being
Yeah.
able to characterize its level of risk is something that I would absolutely leave to the
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
just popped
experts.
into my head. I was
it
just
is
curious. It is?
mold. I believe is one of the most deadly at certain levels. In the home, and
And
it
that's
grows in the dark areas, and it'll grow behind a wall, so you'll never see
oh, yeah.
it, and it blooms, and then the spores get sucked up, and so it'll go different places, and they'll
That's how
bloom,
it
and then
yeah.
it keeps going. But I think the most deadly mold that is currently out there is the Juju Tasmania blue mold.
Look at it, Doctor ChatGPT right
No,
there,
I
Doctor
just,
Platt.
I just, I just, I just totally made that up. No,
I was like,
I'm pretty
I bought it. I was like, wow,
It's funny.
actually, I'll have to look
Uh,
that one up.
Open your
So,
eyes into the fraud in the insurance
is
world.
that JU
Yeah.
or
Jujitsu?
jujitsu?
But,
um,
on my side of the house with the fraud, we just to open your eyes a little bit how it's committed, we get a lot of that, like, South Florida, really anywhere in Florida, they'll go in and they'll hose down pretend there's a water loss, hose it down with a hose on the floor, turn the AC off, close all the windows, close the door, leave it like that over the weekend, come back, and boom, there's your mold, and that opens up new coverage and things like that,
I
so,
had a claim
yeah.
just like that. I had a
Yeah.
claim where I had to go out. It was just like he said, it was a mobile home, and I got sent out. And when I walked into this mobile home, I opened the door, and all the fan blades were just drooped down. Water
Wow.
was dripping, not from the hose or whatever they used, because it was like 3 weeks later. It was the moisture that built and built and built, and it was just dripping everywhere, rolling down the way, and mold, just little hairs just growing everywhere. It's
mm,
crazy.
mhm. I mean, I have to say that, and I think this is one of the reasons why certainly see a benefit of using the systems we're developing, like Sample for insurance. But I think doing as much community action research as fiber does, which we do see the human side too, as I'm sure you
Mhm.
all do,
Which is
of
important.
like what happens when these systems fail at a really fundamental level, and how does that upend people's lives and impact their livelihood and their health. And so that's another reason why I feel really strongly about moving this forward, because these are, it's certainly distressing to see a structure
Mm.
degrade to that level where you have literally
Yeah.
materials delaminating, and you pull drywall off and you see nothing but a mold
Yeah.
garden behind it, which I
Yeah.
think we all have done that. But also knowing how this impacts vulnerable people, like, children, older adults,
Yes,
and
exactly.
just everyday people, that especially homes are most people's largest investment and largest
Yeah,
asset. And when
absolutely.
that
Yeah,
fails, it's really heartbreaking to see what it
absolutely.
can do
Very
to folks.
emotional.
So yeah, so I think having that's one of the reasons why that fuels me with continuing to develop this is that if we can put viable tools into the hands of the public and decision makers, um, everybody wins.
Yeah.
Everything could get better. Insurance could make better decisions.
Mhm.
Homeowners could feel more secure in the
Yes.
decisions that they're making when they're purchasing a home or remodeling it. And so that's I think that's the major incentive that I have and the rest of my team has in developing this.
Yeah, I would echo that. The human emotion is something, we see it when we go to these cat sites and, that we when there's a hurricane, we go down there, and when these insureds come in, how emotional they are because it's their biggest investment in their lives, and, that it's either destroyed by water, wind, flood, or even mold can destroy it. Just the emotion there is it's disheartening. It really is. And we've had people quit because they're not used to that. When they see it behind a desk and they're talking to somebody on a phone and they got a water loss or, their house burned down, it's not that seeing it person to person. It's not that tangible. You're not seeing it and feeling it with your hands. But when some of our adjusters and people go out there and hear the true stories and people are just breaking down and crying, it's the human factor is important on all, in the way I see it anyway. So no, it's impressive. Um, Very neat.
Yeah, I mean, and just kinda just piggybacking a little bit on that is, so with this plan is called SAMPL, right? That's
Mhm.
right. I was thinking fiber. The sample where it gives you the information concerning the materials that are used, and do you see this affecting, like, yeah, as it grows and gets bigger and gets more recognition and the data, inputted is becoming more relevant and, the information's there. Do you think this could have an effect on certain, like, building codes, around the state of Florida?
Yeah, that's the hope. Yeah, I mean, I think Florida this again, I'm licensed. I'm a licensed designer in Florida, and so I have to maintain my license. I have to take continuing education units
Yep.
every 2 years, and Florida has, in 6 of those hours, our Florida Building Code, and that is different
Wow.
than other states that I'm licensed in. So the benefit of Florida is we already have a really strong building code, and one of the strongest in the country.
Mhm.
And so the hope is that this research could inform those building codes going forward because again, Florida does have that tradition of having this exemplary building code
Uh-huh.
that other states quite frankly follow to certain degrees or certainly pull from. So using something like sample that is science based to inform building codes, inform facility guidelines would be something that we would certainly hope for, but we know that that is a long range plan, and
Yeah,
and it should be because
Yeah.
we
right.
want to make
Gotta
sure
get it
that
right.
we're not saying that, "Oh, for sure, just use this and everything's going to get better," but we continue to work with organizations within the state, like the Office of Insurance Regulation,
Yes.
to ensure that we are ground truthing what we're seeing in the data.
Yeah. That makes sense. Because as you get more data, like, certain materials, new materials come in, like, different truss straps or, anchoring and stuff like that, screws, nails, all kinds of, data
Yeah.
points. I wonder, and then do y'all also take in consideration building materials for manufactured homes? Because it's some of the materials are a little bit different than, what's used in a residential, if that makes sense.
We could. The architecture that the operating system for Sample is based on is domain agnostic. So although we haven't pulled those types of materials into the database, we could. And so part of this new initiative is scaling our data set up by threefold, which will allow us to certainly make better predictions on the
Yeah.
existing materials, but then also allow us to expand for things like manufactured and modular home performance. So yeah, that's certainly on the radar to do. The other aspect of this, the architecture, the artificial intelligence architecture that SAMPL is based on will also, hopefully, as we continue to develop this, allow us to look at assemblies of materials. So as opposed to roofing material, a roof system, and how that will perform as as an assembly of materials. So again, early days, but
Yeah.
that's where we are headed with this.
I'd be curious to see how bow trusses hold up, and then you got your some paint on gypsum board on these mobile homes. I'd love to see the scores on some of these little rosettes. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah. And well, again, and that's one of the reasons we want to stay very neutral with, in
Yeah.
general, with the
Yeah.
types of materials, because we don't want to. The science is continuously evolving, and so we don't want to just. We don't want to. We don't want to disenfranchise any material type by saying this isn't performing very
Right.
well. But
Right.
we also want to be realistic with alternatives that would be available for a variety of different types of structure.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot of people mad at you. It's like, why is the price of a mobile home gone up 50%?
Oh.
Um, I was going to link in the Lean Six Sigma project, which our president here in Tower Hill really is faithful in. He loves it. We've done a lot of great things with it. What is, I don't know, and excuse me for ignorance, what is the project you're working on? Is it with the claims? Is it with underwriting? Do you?
So what my involvement with that project has just been basically to provide data and
Okay.
information related to. So as someone who's a huge fan of Six Sigma,
Okay.
we used it a lot in healthcare. I am delighted that Tower Hill is looking at SAMPL and
Mm-hmm.
using this as a
Okay.
focus of their
Okay.
Lean Six Sigma project. Because again, I think,
I got it.
and having them do that. Also, I'm actually kind of relieved that I'm just a data provider, because the benefit of
Yeah.
having a team separate from our team at Fiber look at this and
Yep.
give us feedback allows us objective opinions
Yeah.
on how
Unbiased.
to actually improve the platform. So, because again, regardless of how unbiased we try to be as
Mm-hmm.
scientists, we still are human beings and we bring in
Yep.
our own assumptions. And so I think having this Lean Six Sigma project is a fantastic idea. I would love it if other entities within the insurance realm did this, because again, this is open source information.
Yeah.
And every time somebody does this, we learn more about how to improve the program. In fact, I had just received an email from the Office of Insurance Regulation team who very kindly did an analysis, a year later analysis of the platform, and said, "Here's what we would like to see improve
Nice.
in this next iteration." And it was absolutely invaluable. And again, things that would not have been on my radar.
Yeah.
I think this is the benefit of actually working with subject matter experts in insurance to understand how we actually improve the utility and usability of the systems we're developing, so they are more applicable to the needs of an industry that we really don't know. It's not an industry we work in, so, and we don't know a lot about it. So I think that really speaks to the benefit of these partnerships.
Yeah. Yeah. Does the data and the algorithms work in any way like a machine learning model?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah. And
Okay.
so same idea. Again,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons we are scaling up data points, because like any machine learning model or any large language model, um, it gets better at forecasting outcomes the more data points
Oh
you
yeah.
give it.
Yep.
It's like inferential statistics, really. So it's
Mhm.
the more information we can feed into it, the better predictions it's going to make overall. And so Yeah, same idea. More credible information in, better predictions out.
Yeah. Yeah, we have an internal machine learning team, and, we leverage it a lot on the fraud side and other areas, and the return on investment's incredible, to be quite honest.
Mhm.
Really, especially on the fraud side and how it learns. It looks at all the the more data, like you said, the more data it wants to eat data, eat data, eat data, because that's how it learns and decides what's right and wrong. And, it's really elevated our what we pick and choose to investigate on the fraud side. Saving millions of dollars, in just over a few claims, so quite impressive.
$1 million.
Well, it's really
But,
nice that we're
so
working
yeah, I
in.
heard and you got to speak. Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, no,
Please.
no. Well, no, you just mentioned return on investment. That's one of the
Yeah.
things that we're actually working on too. We do have an ROI dashboard if you get on the Fiber Ripple
Excellent.
site. But that's one of the things that we are actually the cost you'd mentioned the cost of mobile homes. We're actually working too on having better prediction on what the ROI of choosing one material is over the other. So looking at the life cycle cost of the material that might be more expensive, but will will perform better over time.
Yeah.
And so that's another aspect of sample that we've introduced, but we're continuously working on refining. And again, that's why these partnerships, especially with the insurance industry, are so valuable because again, it goes back to that idea of more data, better data,
Mhm.
the right data in, the better
Yep.
predictions that can make.
Good.
So, would you, I know it's, in the, the research phase or anything like that, but do you see yourself, I mean, are you the sole owner of this, sole rights owner of the software that's
Well, the university
University.
owns it. So yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
the university owns the intellectual property. I am listed as first inventor, and my former graduate research assistant, Dr. Zanali, is the co-inventor of it. So her name's Arzu. So Arzu and I are the named as first inventors of the
Oh,
sample
okay.
That's
system.
really
Yeah.
neat.
Kinda like
So
Gatorade, right?
there you
Gatorade,
go.
the
Exactly like
intellectual
Gatorade.
content is
Yes.
UF, but it's the guy, I forgot
Yeah.
his name, that owned he gets money for that, right? For
Yeah, I
Gatorade?
mean,
Does
as a
he
first inventor, you do if a system is commercially profitable, then you do
Is
get
that right?
a
So,
portion of the
that was gonna
profits.
be my second question is
Interesting.
Yeah.
if in case so, you're gonna keep us in mind if this goes to, like, an IPO pre-stage.
I think UF
Would
would
love to
love
get in
that.
on the
I
ground
think
level.
I mean, it would be a moonshot if this were at Gatorade level, but I do not expect that to happen, but you never know.
Never
You never
know.
know,
Yeah,
especially with the insurance agency
there
engaged.
you go. Yeah.
There's so much money on the insurance side. It's
I
just
mean, you got a
unbelievable.
guy that invented Xactimate, you got another guy in Canada that
Yeah.
invented Symbility. I
Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
that's true. That's very
a
true.
building construction tool that a software that could be a program that could be sold out. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta get your
it's got a
patent
lot of
rights going.
potential.
No, it's exciting information. It really is. It's different perspective. It opened my eyes a little bit to some things.
Yeah,
So.
I love it. I'm geeking out over it. I got so many. I always go down rabbit holes, and that's why Carl's always like, "Hold on, not in the rabbit hole yet." But I'm not going to do it. But yeah, no, this is super interesting because there's just so many different outlets and branches that it can go. You got one area here, you got another area. I mean, it could just explode into so many different areas, especially since it's like you said, it's ran off of AI, right? So
Mhm,
AI
right.
learns and grows and builds, and there's just the more you feed it, the different areas it can pull from. So I don't know. It's very interesting, very interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Well,
Absolutely.
again, I would really, we're constantly, and I'm certainly constantly encouraging people who are interested in this to
Mhm.
reach out
Yes.
because it's again, we do the best with my background is building and engineering, and that's what my subject matter expertise is in. But having people from other industries, I mean, that's why we were so grateful when Office of Insurance Regulation reached out
Mhm.
because they brought a level of expertise that we didn't have and
Right.
had never thought of mobilizing this
Right.
in insurance. And then Tower Hill came in and has offered incredible support and made it even better. And so I think that's where, we're constantly looking at like outreach opportunities. So people from with other areas of subject matter expertise that are interested in helping us develop this technology will weigh in, because there's no possible way we can know everything in terms of,
Right.
and know all the opportunities for improving this.
Right. And the best way for people that are interested in doing like that is maybe to reach out to you on LinkedIn or via that contact information on the website, or
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, and then also reaching out via the Fiber website. That's a great way of getting in touch with me or anybody on our team. And so yeah, by all means, please,
yeah.
if you're
No.
listening and you're interested, don't be shy. Feel free to reach out, because again, it's really in its infancy. And
Yeah.
as I mentioned before, I'm really passionate about how this that having worked for 25 years in the building and design industry, there
Hmm.
wasn't anything like this. And we did our very best to make the best decisions we could, but oftentimes something would happen that we hadn't anticipated, or even that we did, and we didn't know how the materials would perform or fail.
Yeah.
And so this idea of developing the system was really born like 25 years of painful
Yeah.
experiences, and how do we actually make things better? And so I am really interested about its efficacy in improving building reliability, but I'm also really interested in having it be used in a way that actually improves human health and well-being. So I think that's definitely something we want to keep as our North Star as we continue to develop this.
Yeah. I think it's super important work, and would encourage people to reach out and talk to you more about it and get more subject matter experts and open this up. One thing before we leave, Edge 2026 Educator of the Year. Is that what I
Yeah.
read? We're gonna put those up, yeah. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, well, that was I mean, that I actually have that was through the International Interior Design Association. I was
Excellent.
incredibly honored. Um, and that was I think I in large part because of the work around SAMPL.
Yeah.
We published a paper. Again, SAMPL started as an educational model, and so I've used it in classes, and saw that students actually performed better in decision making. It was a pilot study, but that design students performed better um, using this, because it
Yeah.
uses chunks of information. And so that was one of the things that IIDA had cited as one of the
Yeah,
reasons
absolutely.
for the award. But I was incredibly humbled and honored by that
Well deserved, and
recognition.
congratulations. Well
Do
deserved, and
you also
congratulations.
are you also like a do you teach courses also, or
Oh, yeah. That's academia. So I work in a
That's a
research
day job.
institute. I'm a
yeah,
direct
I didn't
Yeah.
I'm
I've
the
been
director of the sustainability and the built environment program here at UF, in the College of Design, Construction, Planning, and I'm an assistant professor of interior design. So I teach courses. So we wear a lot of hats at
Yeah.
yeah, you do.
academia.
So my daughter's starting at UF in the fall, and she's all super excited. I graduated from UF also, so
Oh,
and my wife graduated from UF, so we are
yeah.
true
True
Orange
Gators.
blue is our life. But,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool, that's really awesome.
Oh, fantastic. What college is your daughter in, if you don't mind me asking?
She's got agricultural.
Oh, that's a phenomenal we have such a fantastic program here at UF. She's in the
Yeah,
right place. So,
yeah.
good.
She's probably gonna switch it up, but who knows? But
Well,
she's just happy to, to be there and kinda follow in our footsteps, so we're
That's
excited.
awesome. I did yeah, you didn't tell me that, so congrats on that. That's a
Yeah.
big deal. It's not an easy school to get into anymore, that's
no,
for sure.
it's not. No. My
Mhm.
nephew is trying to get in too. He's
Yeah,
a junior right now, and I'm really keeping my fingers crossed because
yeah.
it is such a
My old
phenomenal school.
Yeah. My oldest got in, and then my youngest is, 3 years younger than her, had better SAT scores, was got a valedictorian in her class, all the extracurriculars, and she didn't get in. So it's just interesting. It's really gotten really, really hard to get in. I mean, you really gotta be the cream of the crop, and
Yeah.
that's why it's producing such great results the university is.
You know what? I might have to correct myself. I think she switched majors. Now, what would be the school that she would go to for, um, like pediatric therapy? Um,
More in
Oh,
Alpine.
College of Medicine or College of Nursing?
Yeah, it'd be something along that lines.
all right. I'm just going to tell
Your
her not to
daughter's got a
listen
kid.
to this
I was
episode
gonna
because
say.
she switched 3 times. And as a father, I should freaking know this, but I thought it had something to do with, like cognitive learning of children, that
Oh,
she
that could be
switched from.
education. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're different sides of the campus, very
Yeah.
good
There's
programs
just,
though,
yeah. Yeah.
regardless.
I love you, Taylor. I've always been there for you. So don't be mad. She sometimes listens.
You
Oh,
wanted that, but it was
yeah.
absolute pleasure to speak with you today,
Well,
doctor, and we really appreciate it. It was a great conversation, and
well,
would love to have you back maybe in an appropriate time when there's some more developments coming or different iterations down the road. It would be great to keep in touch, and hopefully we get to visit you here someday. Come on up, open invite. Patty's actually in the office today. We should have had her come in and say hello, but we'd love to see you and take you out to lunch or something if we had that
oh,
ability one day.
I
So
would love that. And yeah, I would love to come back when I have more information.
yeah,
Yeah.
So thank you, Carl. Thank you, Chad. This is so fun. And I
good.
just so
I'm glad.
enjoyed talking to both of you. So
Excellent.
again, appreciate the opportunity.
And Chad might be looking for a job, so keep him in mind.
What? You hear something?
No, this is right up your
Oh,
alley.
it is up
That's
my
what I
alley.
mean.
I love this stuff.
I'm always happy to
Chad
be a
Rex.
fellow geek, honestly.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all listening out there. Y'all be safe. We'll catch you next week. You gonna be around next week?
I will be around next week.
Woohoo! Who knows where we'll be, but we'll catch you next week. Y'all be safe. Thanks for listening and have a good one.
Peace out.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bluegrass Insurance Management. Bluegrass is a cohesive team of professionals with decades of experience in nearly all aspects of insurance services. A team with a singular purpose of providing excellent service and a personnel to work alongside your company to confront the challenges of our industry. If you want to be boots on the ground ready, turn to Bluegrass Insurance Management. www.bluegrassim.com. You can also find them on Facebook and LinkedIn under Bluegrass Insurance Management or on X, aka Twitter, at BluegrassIM. Bluegrass, boots on the ground ready.